He describes himself as a recovering BBC journalist, Chris Middleton. He's put an excellent thread together on Twitter about all the mistakes that Labour have made since they came to power. It's all chronological. It's very, very good, very detailed. I won't read all the details, but it's just a gentle reminder of the slippery slope that this government is taking us down. Fair enough, the Labour government aren't the instigators of this journey to the abyss, but they've certainly speeded things up. I'll just tell you a few of the things that Chris has said. He starts his thread off with Labour is on track to become the most hated UK government of all time. The net approval rating sits at minus 45%, and it seems to just get worse and worse. Here's a month-by-month breakdown of every Labour scandal so far. Please like and share. Well, I haven't. I've started following it because anybody who can describe themselves as a recovering BBC journalist gets my attention. Number 1, the betrayal of pensioners. Just 3 weeks after getting into power, Kier Starmer's Labour announced the cut in the winter fuel payments. Number 2, the Southport cover-up. On the very same day that Southport was struck by the horrific tragedy when Axel Rubacabana killed those 3 young girls and injured several more, in a frenzied stabbing attack, he sparked outrage across the nation, and protests and riots followed, with Labour MPs blaming misinformation being spread online. However, the real controversy could lay with the government's response to the event. Kier Starmer was accused of withholding critical information about suspects to avoid political damage, despite knowing the motivations and background of the killer. This saga continues. Number 3, Labour councillors' violent rhetoric. On the 7th of August 2024, in a moment of shocked madness, publicly, Ricky Jones, a Labour councillor from Dartford, Kent, was filmed at a demonstration in Walthamstow, openly advocating for violence against those he labelled as fascists. We all remember him. His trial has just got delayed, I think, till August. But he's out on bail, isn't he? And yet nobody got bail for the Southport attacks. Number 4, passes for glasses. On 24th of August, the Times exposed that Labour's top donor, Lord Ali, got a security pass to Downing Street right after Starmer became PM. Ali then threw a party for other Labour donors there, sparking cash for access and cronyism allegations. You have to make your own mind up about that one, don't you? I know where I sit. Number 5, David Lammy, missteps. Well, he will in them trainers, won't he? In September 24, Foreign Secretary David Lammy made headlines for all the wrong reasons when he referred to, I didn't even know he'd done this because I don't take much notice of loons like him, but when he referred to Azerbaijan's military actions in Nagorno-Karabakh as liberation, this statement was perceived as not only intensive and insensitive, but also a gross misjudgment of the situation, where reports confirmed that there was ethnic cleansing of the Armenian population there. You couldn't make it up. David Lammy. Who put him in that job? Number 6, meddling in the US elections. In October 24, controversy erupted when it came to light that Labour had plans to send around 100, that's no small amount, is it, Labour activists to campaign in Kamala Harris's presidential bid. This move was quickly branded as an act of foreign election interference. What else can it be? Someone said on GB News that they just wanted to see how American elections are run. You can Google that one, love. You don't need a plane ticket. Number 7, Fujitsu's contract scandal. Before the election, senior Labour MPs had vocally demanded that the government cease awarding contracts to Fujitsu Services, the company behind the disastrous Horizon IT system at the core of the post office scandal. However, just months after their victory, the Labour-led Home Office under Yvette Cooper, strange woman, handed Fujitsu 2 significant contracts totalling 24 million. In October, Cooper approved a £9.6 million contract for specialist hardware equipment. Do you really want them in charge of anything? Number 8, MP assault incident. In a shocking breach of conduct, an incident involving a Labour MP, Mike Amesbury, physically assaulting a constituent came to light in late October 2024. CCTV footage captured Amesbury in Frodsham, Cheshire, where he appeared to punch a man to the ground. It goes on about the details there. I think he stepped down, didn't he? I hope he did. What is it? What are we on 9? Oh, 9, we're up to 9. There's a shed load. Democracy, but only sometimes. In a move that sparked widespread controversy, the Labour government was accused of undermining democracy by cancelling and delaying the election scheduled for May 25. What else can you call it? Because they knew that the Duffers wouldn't get back in. They know there's a shed load of Reform Party candidates waiting in the wings to just gobble up those seats. So what do? Cancel the elections. Oh, can you smell? Oh, what's that smell? Oh, I think I can smell bullshit. Number 10, the Starmer's U-turn on WASPy women. This is a big one for me because I am that generation. WASPy against state pension inequality. They've been campaigning since 2015. I know that. I've had several articles published in the Daily Express. After the sudden pension age hike, where we didn't get notified for 15 years, bearing in mind, and there's no TV for this. You can't watch telly and be shocked by what they've just said in Parliament. It wasn't televised. Despite Kier Starmer actually saying himself that it was a total injustice, and the Parliamentary Ombudsman in March 24 recommending that compensation of £1,000 to £2,950 would be due to the pensioners each, the government thought the Minister Liz Kendall rejected this. Kendall claimed there was no direct financial loss, ignoring the real hardship faced by women. Yeah, thanks for that. I remember in 2015 when all these women were saying, vote Labour, vote Labour. And I said, don't vote Labour, they won't follow through. They're saying this to get your vote. There's 3 million of us. We're a big lump of voting potential. They won't do this. And guess who was proven right? Yeah, me, the pensioner on watch at the time. Number 11, Rachel Reeves reckoning, as in reckoning up, I think. By late 24, Rachel Reeves, Rachel from accounts, the Chancellor faced a storm of criticism over her economic policies intended to kickstart the green industrial revolution through substantial government borrowings. How do you kickstart anything with borrowings? Strategies were instead met with wide scepticism and concern. Critics argued that her approach was inflating borrowing costs, and investors began to demand higher returns on UK debt due to the fear of inflation and default. This was seen as potentially leading the UK into a debt trap where a large chunk of the nation's budget would be devoted to servicing rather than improving public services. I mean, come on, my mate who's an engineer up from North East, he'd worked that one out. The trouble is with these policies that they talk about, they're not actually policies that they come up with. They're policies that are off-the-shelf items designed by the pro-Blairite civil service who say, oh, have a look at this, madam. This is rather a good idea. And if you numb as they come, you take it on board and go, oh, yes, all right, yes, I'll do that. That'll be really great. And that's the sort of Chancellor I think we've got. Then we go to number 12, the refusal of an inquiry into the child rape gangs. The Pakistani-led child rape gangs in January 2025, the allegations of Labour cover-ups and their activities related to child rape gangs resurfaced during intense scrutiny. It's never ceased, has it? And this is really a vile thing to deny this inquiry. Personally, I think rather than an inquiry, and I spoke to Maggie Oliver about this on a personal level, she never stops campaigning, why not set a task force up? You could create COVID wardens like that. Why not set a task force up to delve into what went wrong with various bodies like the police, the social services, the children's homes that seem to be very profitable, bearing in mind, and the councils that were involved that seemed to do nothing, while 12-year-old children were repeatedly abused, tortured and violated in the most horrendous way. Number 13, the fall of Tulip Siddiq. In early 2025, Tulip Siddiq, Labour's anti-corruption minister, resigned amid allegations of misconduct, anti-corruption and misconduct. I mean, you could put that on as a satirical ID, couldn't you, on Twitter? Misconduct. It goes on. Number 14, former Labour minister arrested in a paedophile sting. Later that month, another scandal came to light as Ivor Kaplan, oh, you could play with that name, couldn't you? A former Labour MP and Minister for Veterans was arrested in Brighton following a sting operation, arranging to meet a 15-year-old for trips to the country. Then Chris says, thanks for taking the time to read all this, blah-de-blah-de-blah. And then he's gone, oh, hang on a minute, addendum. And so it goes on, another addendum. No farms, no food. My sincerest apologies for forgetting this one. Oh, I forgot this, addendum 2, VAT on private schools. Addendum 3, Chagos Island giveaway. Addendum 4, the downfall of Louise Haigh. In November 24, it was revealed that Louise Haigh, the former Transport Secretary, pleaded guilty to criminal offences back in 2014 related to the false report of a stolen mobile phone. She'd initially reported the phone stolen. Let's have a look at this. In a mugging incident in 2013, but later found it had not been taken. Haigh claimed she followed her solicitor's advice and did not comment during the trial. Addendum 5, the controversial appointment of Peter Mandelson, Mandy, as the US ambassador in a move that is dividing opinion across the political spectrum. And I don't think Trump's too happy with that. Addendum 6, there's even more. The death of Peter Lynch. This is a dark one. The dark chapter of Labour's governance unfolded with the tragic death of Peter Lynch, a 61-year-old man who was found dead in his prison cell with no previous record. You can see Peter Lynch on various demonstrations throughout the Brexit debacle where he just has a placard. He's quite quietly spoken but with a resounding voice, and he doesn't seem to be violent or anything. He's not done anything particularly bad, but clearly prison proved too much for the poor man. And Addendum 7 released the prisoners in July 24 in a move that ignited widespread debate. Kier Starmer decided to implement an early release scheme for prisoners in order to make room for protesters and rioters in the wake of the Southport killings. Starmer's initiative involved reducing the proportion of certain custodial sentences served in prison from 50% to 40%, with exceptions for serious, violent and sex offenders, as well as domestic abuse-related crimes. The Prime Minister claimed the early release scheme was an essential part of the government response to riots. Who the hell thinks it's right to put people who have tweeted, Facebook post online that could be taken down at any one time, and many were, they thought better of it? Who, please tell me on the thread, who thinks that they deserve jail time more than a sex offender, a paedophile, and someone guilty of repeated domestic violence? Several offenders repeated similar crimes on the first day of release. That's your government for you. That is your government. That's what we've got. That's my government too. And nobody's going to put up with this. Nobody. The political bubble might do, your Beth Rigby's and your Sky News correspondents, because they never get touched with anything. Their kids are all at private school, aren't they? All having a lovely jubbly time. It's so's the working class that have to put up with everything. And some of you might have enough money to move to the suburbs to get yourself out the fray. But a lot of people are just left with knife crime, gang crime. You know, kids in Great Britain talking like gangster. They all talk gangster. They dress gangster. We're going lawless, and Labour will use it as an excuse to increase surveillance on all of us. We don't need surveillance increasing on all of us. We need policemen who are allowed to police, who are allowed to stop crimes on the street, a more visible presence, more police officers. Theresa May took 20,000 police officers from us in 2000 and I think it was 17. She took the police down a grade. She was the one that basically instigated the Royal College of Policing, which is completely useless, should be disbanded. They come out with woke nonsense. 6 coppers turn up at your door for a tweet, and yet shoplifting, repeated shoplifting, is not even policed anymore. People are suffering immense losses because it's an easy target, and you've only got to look at the identity on CCTV of these people. Most of them don't speak English. I'll just leave you with that summary of the Labour government in the UK. Please share it with your friends far and wide. because it really is quite a good chronological report, and if he's disowned the BBC, a recovering BBC reporter, he deserves a bit of publicity. So I'm now following him on Twitter. Nice bit of work there, saved me a lot of work because I'd forgotten a few of those instances. You might even remember other things that they've done. Could be at council level. Bang it on the thread. People read the thread, we all interact. That's what it's about, informing each other, keeping people in the know and telling that one other person about what's going on. And, I'm going to remember it this time, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's free, just click whatever it is you click. Obviously I follow it anyway, it's my bloody channel. And see if you want to scroll back through any of the videos about Trump. There's nothing in a particular order. If there's something you feel you want to know more about, be it President Trump's brilliant strategy, or it might be about Nigel Farage, just have a scroll back through the videos.